So is money the root of all evil? It's an interesting concept, isn't it? And it's kind of going to be along the discussion lines of this video and a little bit about what I'm going to be doing over the next 30 days or so. Now, it's really a double down on what I did last week. And if I'm going down the theme of is money the root of all evil, there is something that I say quite regular. Money will see you out.
What?
Now, what that means is it shows the true person. We all know that one person who never buys around, or was very tight-fisted with their money. And some people have just not got a lot of money, which is acceptable. They're still lovely people. But then you have some people that have got reasonable amounts of money, but they're so money-grabbing, they'll take bread out of your mouth. Now, those type of people are normally feckin' horrible.
Really?
Really?
All right? And do I want to know horrible people? No, I don't. Now, this world is full of awful people. In fact, to give you an idea, a lot of people know I get a lot of kicking all the time because of what I do for a living. The difference is I actually show you the bank account. You know, hitting a major milestone this week. You know, I started, and if you go through the channel, and there'll be an update next week. But my trading account where I keep my funds, you know, where I have my quick money and my investment money and various other bits and pieces that I'm building up for my grandkids. I use it as a trading fund. It's over £200,000 now. And you still got people kicking it in going, it's not that much, it's screenshot. And I'm like, what fucking planet are you on? How can I screenshot a fucking bank account when you see me log into it? You're just fucking deluded, all right?
You know, you're a classic example of the inverse ratio between the size of the mouth and the size of the brain.
But this is the whole point of the industry. Because they can't do it, they believe nobody can do it. Now, in last week's video, of course, you get the thing, because I asked, why do you trade? Now, for me, I don't trade for money. I don't think anybody who does it as a job does that job for money. Now, most people who do a job purely for money normally hate the job, and they will do anything to get out of it. Now, in trading, I agree, money will attract you in. It's not like you're going to be a vet. See, if you're a vet, you love animals and one thing and another, and you go to college to learn how to be a vet, then university, and you open up your practice, and the money will naturally follow, which comes from what I say quite a lot. If you do what you love, the money will follow. That is so true. Because if you want to be a bin man, be a bin man because you love being a bin man, right? You'll be good at it, you know. Then you'll get a promotion, become bin man supervisor, but be the best bin man supervisor. And that'll get recognized, then you become a manager, but be the best bin man manager, and you'll get a pay rise. So if you're doing something that you love, it doesn't matter what it is, you will naturally increase your value. Because if you put it the other way around and you're constantly chasing the money, you'll find that you fail at it. Now, think about any athlete. Does anybody wake up when they're 14-year-old and think, do you know something? I'm going to be a golfer because Tiger Woods makes a lot of money.
None. Absolutely none.
No. You like playing golf. Same with football. All these things. Every sportsman loves the sport they're in. The money is the byproduct. Now, for me, I had a good job, very well paid, fucking hated it. Hated every waking moment of it. But money trapped me in it. When I went and started working for myself, started very small, and I built that business up, and the money naturally came with it. And I do the same with this job. Now, my route into trading is a hell of a lot different than most other people because it was part of my job in industry. So therefore, I was already accustomed to it. And I found that I really enjoyed it. And I do because I'm analytical. I like task-orientated things. It's why when you see me do my spreadsheets and one thing and another, I'm data-driven. That's how I work. But it suits me. You know, for all I'm called Scruff, everybody thinks, oh, scruffy trader, he's got lines all over the charts and one thing another. And some people look at them and they think I've got too many levels on because I use high time frame levels, but I condense them down into low time frames. The difference there is when I'm on a lower time frame, it widens out, but the levels are rock solid because I know which ones to draw. It's not chaotic at all. It is very methodical, and I always do a top-down approach. And anybody ever watches me trade, which they do in the live calls, break any chart they want, I do the same process over and over. It is top to bottom. And then I look at various things. I'm looking to see what the general direction of the market is. I'm looking to see what the momentum of the market is. I'm looking to see what the strength of the market is. And I'm looking to see what sentiment started it. So these are all things. Then I just look at a law of averages. And that's how you work. You know, to me, it works very well. Others don't. But again, this is where it comes into it because people look at trading backwards.
No way!
Yes, if you come into it just for the money, you're actually starting your journey at the end point of the destination, when really you don't know what the beginning was. Now, the beginning is actually understanding the craft, because you've got no skill in the game, so how the hell are you expecting to get to the end point straight away? You cannot go A to D. You've got to go A, B, C, D. So that's the point. And this is why I say money is the root of all evil, because you genuinely think, you look at somebody that can just go, yeah, put an order here, put a line there, oh, the fair value gap, that's amazing, oh, fantastic, right? And you're going to make $1 million. Well, I've got news for you. You're fucking not.
You were literally too stupid to insult.
Right? So wake up and stop it. Now, in the video, you obviously get the daft comments. I mean, I get some amazing comments, you know, on this one. Everybody trades for money, period. And the rest of what you say is crap. Right, okay. Everything I say is crap. The difference is I make a wage from this and I've got a shitload of money in the bank. But that money don't define me. And anybody who's been out with me will tell you, I am not tight. I'll buy the rounds of drinks. You know, if you want a meal, I'll buy the meal. That's the way it is, you know, but I've always been like that because money's not a driver to me. What I want is what money can buy, and that's happiness.
Because I have voles, and you don't.
Because the other part of the coin is they say money can't buy happiness, but it doesn't half help. And how does it help? Because if you do the job, you get paid reasonably well. And if you get paid reasonably well, you don't worry about the gas bill. Now, what I'm going to be doing over the course of the next 30 days is I did a couple of little polls because I'm constantly asked, what would you do? Now, the other week, 6-7 weeks ago, I did a thing where start with £10. Well, that account is now over £100. So build it up, all right? Did a one prior where we built a prop. Built the prop up, bought a prop. Do things like that. Now, the prop industry is changing a lot at the moment. You've got to be really careful with the prop industry. I'm not a big fan at the minute, simply because they're changing the rules all the time. And trust me, it ain't for your benefit. So our jury's out on that at the moment. So your own accounts is always first. Now, if that's the case, what if you got no money? Well, the one thing you don't want to do is borrow money to trade. But I do think most people can find 50, 100 quid. Right? Most people can. Right? And let's put it another way. If you can't, this job definitely isn't for you at this moment in time. Learn the craft. A, B, C.
Well, we watch and wait.
You know, because there's nothing wrong with paper trading and getting yourself educated before you start going live. Now, I'm a big believer in that you should have some skin in the game. That's why I like prop industry, because you got skin in the game. And if you go through some of the videos, I'll tell you which ones is good. Now, I only really support the fivers, which is the prop fund that I personally use. And everything you see me talk about on this channel, I personally use them. I'm not sponsored to do it. I just personally use them. And I talk about it because of that. I'm used to it. I understand it. I can look at it. You know, that's it. And that's the way to be. Now, just to put a bit of value into this, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll do a video more on this tomorrow where I set up the account. But basically, I'm going to start with 100 quid and I'm going to run it for 30 days. Now, in that 30 days, I'm looking just to see how far it'll go. But the idea is to show you in a structured manner. Now, in the poll, I was asked like various products to pick. So I put a poll out of the major assets and it came back that Euro-dollar was the clear winner. But also get a lot of messages going, well, will you look at this? Will you look at that? So I thought the democratic way to do it was I said, well, what I'll do is I'll do the top three. How's that? Put that to a poll and it came out top three. So it's Euro-dollar, pound USD and pound JPY. And I'm going to track them every single day inside the squad. So if you're part of the squad, I will track them every single day and tell you which one I'm going to trade and why I'm going to trade it. And I'll do it before I do it. And then I'm going to build the account up. Now, the idea is very simple. If I'm starting with 100 quid at 10p per 100, I will over leverage that. So I will say that now, simply because it's a 30-day push. What I'm going to be looking for is £1 a day, because there was a series of things done a while ago where you do 10 pip trade, close, and then done. Well, if I do £1 a day, that means the minimum target is 30 quid. Now, if I do it at 2% based on the initial balance, well, that's, excuse me, dear me, oh, got the coughs there. Need a coffee, because we all know Scruffy like coffee. That's better. It might be up to about 60 quid, something like that, okay? Without taking in the compounding effect. So I want to end the challenge at the end of the month between 30 and 60 quid. I'll be more than happy with that. And I'll set it up and I'll make a spreadsheet, as you've seen. I'll put it on a day tracker so that I can run through it. You see, trades that I take, and I'll set some targets up. And it's fine. But why am I doing it? It's got nothing to do with the money. So when I see comments saying everybody's in it for the money and the rest of it is crap.
These guys, they're fucking idiots.
Well, that's showing you that it isn't. It's showing you that it's a process. And that process naturally brings the money. It's the other way around. Now, if you love this job, and I mean genuinely love this job, you will start becoming very good at it. But you'll also understand what the pitfalls inside it are. Now, for me, the pitfalls are very simple. I know exactly what they are, and I can spot them a mile off. If you're chasing the money, you're going to oversize your position.
You're taller than I imagined.
I'm bigger in every department.
So for all I'm going to over leverage on 100 quid, it'll be what's called a 5 multiplier. Now the 5 multiplier is very simple. It's 10p per 100 and I'll do it 5 times. So it actually ends up at a maximum of 50p. Now, sounds a lot, but I will then look at how the impact is on the account. Because if I go at 50p straight in, well, I probably haven't got much room to go. But if I stage it backwards and I go backwards 5 times, then it reduces exposure and increases the upside. And I'll go with that. Now, the trick is when your account is small, you've got no other choice but to do that. But when your account gets big, you reduce your leveraging. So instead of going sort of a 5 multiplier, you just go on a 3 multiplier or even a 1 multiplier. So makes life a bit simpler, all right? Because you really want to be trading small in relation to the size of the account. So everything I do is backwards to what you lot think. You know, so when you're oversizing, I'm undersizing. What does that do for me? Calms me down. I'm not scared of the market because if it goes completely tits up, I know it's not going to kill the account. Right? So that's the first thing. Right? So you're oversizing. Next is you're putting tight stops in. Your stops will be one of the single most reasons your account is killed. And everybody will kick off going, oh, no. I go in with a 3-pip stop and I always get 100 pips. Do you fuck? Right? You'll have done it once and then that's the way your trades are. Right? It's really difficult to time the markets. Really difficult. So what you need to do is figure out the direction. Because if you get that direction correct, it'll forgive any entry you put in. But if you're trying to pinpoint the entry with a tight stop, what'll happen is you'll get what's called death by 1,000 cuts. So you have a tight stop, I have a wide stop, but I also have a difference on the way I look at stops. You see, you look at stops and you go, well, I'm on a 3-to-1 and I put 10 pips in and I got 30 because that's amazing.
But who might argue with a man from the sky?
You're fucking not, right? So let's get this one straight. If you put the stop into the target criteria, you've already failed. Why? Because you're imposing your will on the market. The market doesn't give a fuck about your stop, and it certainly doesn't give a fuck about the target.
You must ask the right questions.
Right? So you try putting them into the equation. It'll never work. On paper, it does. Right? On paper, it'll always work because it's linear. But the markets are not linear. Markets are living and breathing. You see, you've got to have the same stop, same target, same position size, same conditions in order for it to work. You never get all of those elements at the same time. So the easier way to do it is do this. You go, right, what is my stop? My stop is the point where I'm wrong. I am completely wrong. But also, that stop has one job.
One job!
It's got fuck all to do with the trade, and it has fuck all to do with your target. It has one job. Protect your account. So if you look at where that stop is going to have to be, because that's the other thing, because the markets will probe. They will test points. They'll test levels. They'll test swing points. They'll test moving averages. They'll test the outer boundary of a Bollinger Band. They will test Fibonacci. They will test various things. And you've got to understand what they are. So the stop needs to be placed in a safe area. Now, if it's miles away, you've got to ask yourself whether you can afford it. If you can't afford that distance, because that's what the market will test at, then that trade ain't worth it. So why the fuck are you taking it in the first place? So this leads on to another part. So if you understand the stop only has one job of protecting the account and can answer the question, is it worth it?
I'd buy that for $1.
Then it's a good stop. But if you just go, well, temp it, that's a bad stop because you're going to get cut all the time. Death by 1,000 cuts. Now, this answers kind of another question about, is it worth it? Can I afford it? And all of this sort of shit. Right? Well, if you get stopped out over and over, you will fall into what's called revenge trading or over trading. Now, revenge trading is when you're being clipped and you go straight at the market because you want it again.
It's greed.
Road to disaster. It'll erode your account away. Now, over trading is the other side of the coin, where you're winning and you think you're invincible, so you're going to keep going at the market again.
I like it!
Well, yeah, but what happens is you're going at the market as it's rising, or falling if you're going short. And what you're doing is you're getting closer and closer to the top of the market where it's going to turn. And eventually you'll take that extra trade that you think you're Billy Big Bollocks. And trust me, you're not. The market will turn and it'll take everything off you. So overtrading is terrible as well. So you start building up a profile of what is good and bad. And it comes back to, is money the root of all evil?
Hell yeah!
Well, it is. Because your tight stop is, you don't want to lose the money because you're greedy. But you lose it anyway because it gets eroded away. Then if you put in trade after trade after trade, maybe you stopped out, you want it back, or you're greedy and you try to get it, you're getting yourself to an event horizon point. When it gets to there, it's just, that's it. Game's over. Because it will take the money back. So money is the root of all evil. And your greed and stupidity is what's feeding it. So when I say you should do this job because you love it, not for the money, I genuinely fucking mean it. All right? Now, if you come into it and you do a set of tasks and you go, right, I need, I don't know, say 20 pips a day, 5 days a week is 100 pips a week. It's not bad, right? Pound a point, you make 100 quid a week, 4-week month, 400 quid. Everybody be quite happy with that. But you don't. You want 4,000. But you only started with 100 quid. So your expectation is far outweighing your ability. And that cripples you. And that's going to upset a lot of people. And yes, I'll get the sarky messages. And yes, I'll get the daft comments. I don't give a fuck. Trust me, I don't, right? Does it worry me? It worries me that the world is becoming that way. That's what worries me and that's what upsets me. But one thing's for certain. I'll still be getting paid on Friday. The question is, will you?
How dare you? How dare...
Now, if you calm yourself down, you will do. Now, I have certain rule sets. You know, I was touching on the way that I do my stops. Well, if one of my stops is hit, I've essentially put 5 trades in one, if you want to look at it that way. Because my stops are slightly wider, but they're not massive. You know, not in the grand scheme of things. I certainly don't go, well, I've got a 10 pip target and a 200 pip stop. I'm nowhere close to that. I'm roughly about 1-on-1 based on a position that I have in my head. Now, I go position 3, 1-on-1, and it works out. Now, as long as I've done my due diligence, start at the top, get to the bottom, worked out the direction, worked out the strength, worked out the momentum, worked out whether a trade is worth it, can I afford it, am I over trading, all these different little elements, I'm good. Because the way I work is quite simple. I'm target driven.
Now you're asking the right question, shit stick.
So I'll go in 20 pips a day, 100 pips a week. Outstanding, right? That will pay me. And how do I know? I can show you every day. Every single day. Right? Is my method the best? No. But my mindset is. And mindset is what will make you money. Because I love it. I love my job. I can switch a chart on. I like to break it down. I like to understand what it's trying to achieve. And I like to try and read it. And if you can read a chart, then you can trade a chart. But if you're looking just to enter a chart, because I thought fair value gap, and there's another block over there.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
For fuck's sake. Right? Backwards. It's backwards. You're starting at D. You start at A and you work through. And this is what the whole essence of this video is about. It's about understanding that you do the job and the money will come naturally. But if you go in to get the money, you'll wreck the job. It's that simple. So don't oversize. Don't overtrade. Careful with your stops. Put a reasonable target in. Because remember, when you're day trading, it'll only go so far and it'll rotate. All right? So take what the market is willing to give. And if you're going to be greedy and you're just a money grabber, get yourself to McDonald's. Because if the money's all you want, they'll pay you at the end of the month. They'll pay you okay and then be grateful. You might even get a free burger out of it. Whoop-de-doo. But if you take that mentality into this industry, it'll chew you up and spit you out the other side. And you know something? It won't even blink. Well, not an iota will it blink. But if you love the job, it'll pay you really well.
There. Now we can be friends again.
But one man's riches is another man's poors. You know, I'm happy. You know, I want 30, 40 grand a year. That's all I want. I started the fund on the 1st of April, which you saw in front of you. It's now done. It's 30 grand for the year in 6 weeks. So 30 grand in 6 weeks. I could be swinging off the hell, going, buy my course, do this, do that, there you are, 30 grand in 6 weeks. But what am I doing? I'm going to show you how to make 30 quid. Why?
Because I am stupid.
Because doing the job is far more important than making the money. And that's it. And it'll take a lot of my time, but I will do it anyway. Because the guys in the squad, who I have all the time in the world for, I genuinely do. That's the only way they're going to learn. And they'll tell you I'm a brutal bastard in there, because if I see a money grabber or somebody who's just chasing pennies or chasing the big money, I'm not interested in them. I'm interested in the guys that are wanting to put the work in. And I know that in a year's time, I'll be having a conversation with them where they've done quite well. And I get thanked quite a lot of people like that going, thank you for straightening me out. Why? Because I show them the right way. I don't sort of showboat in front of them. If they're doing it wrong, I tell them they're doing it wrong. And if it means they leave the group, they leave the group. And I couldn't give a fuck because I've done them a favour. That's it. I can't be any fairer than that, guys.
Sensitive.
So, like I say, doubling down on what I did last week. Love the job, the money will follow it. It genuinely will. Come into this for the money, purely for the money. You are going to be sadly mistaken. So, tell me in the comments. Tell me your thoughts of what you think trading is. But I'm being dead straight with you. If you're in it purely for money, you're wasting your time. Because you will come to hate this job. And why? Because it'll make you overtrade and it'll make you snatch at things all the time. Whereas if you did the process, you'd probably make far more, 2-3 times more than what you normally would. But one thing's for certain, if you do the job, you'll be profitable. And that's all you can ask for. So there you go. If you've got it kicking around, take your time to go look at the WhatsApp. There's links for it down in the description. Certainly go on my website. All the contact details and the companies that I use are there. And if you do want to have a chat, I answer every single one of you. Have yourselves a great one. See you soon.